Facebook is blocking Australian users from accessing news stories on its platform. The move by the tech giant is in response to proposed legislation that would force Facebook and Google to pay for the use of Australian news content. Now, for some more insight on the law and Facebook's actions, we are joined by Dr. Johannes Drooghaag, CEO of Spearhead Management in Bonn, Germany. Welcome, Doctor, to Asia Today. So, first of all, let's talk about this row. Why has Facebook taken this approach to the law?
Well, Facebook wants to avoid that it's been held responsible for the content that it is publishing, and it also wants to avoid that it has to pay for the content that it's publishing. Facebook's stance on all of this is that it only offers the platform to share information and neither owns nor is responsible for that information. Now, that is disputed because Facebook sells advertisement by which it takes influence on what content the users see, and it also collects a lot of information and deploys its algorithms. So Facebook is in a disputed role when it comes to information, and a couple of countries are already fighting against Facebook's stance that it's not a publisher. And this regulation would make Facebook indirectly a publisher, and it would also force it to pay for the information that it shares.
Yeah, well, many Australians are angry over the fact that they have been deprived of access to information. What do you think are the options for the Australian government now?
Well, the first thing that the Australian government could do is, of course, keep its stance and continue with this legislation that would force Facebook to follow the rules in Australia. And that is something that Facebook will continue to fight, because Facebook somehow has tried to put itself always above all kinds of regulation by the claim that they just offer the platform and are not responsible for it. Facebook could also negotiate some further with the Australian government, but I personally believe that the government is at the moment understandably quite upset about this very strict move by Facebook and the attempt to outpower the government. So I think the chances that Facebook might come up with some better proposals are very slim, and the chance that the government would accept them are even slimmer.
Yeah, and Dr. Drooghaag, the chairman of the UK News Media Association, Henry Walker, says that Facebook is playing the schoolyard bully in this developing story. Do laws like this one, which could become the world's first, can work in regulating the big tech globally?
Well, Facebook definitely acts like a bully, and not just in this particular case, also when it comes to privacy of its customers, when it comes to its algorithms, when it comes to how it influences news, but also, for example, its role in organizing Capitol riots in the United States and then claiming to have no kind of responsibility for all the chat groups that it had. Facebook is under pressure on many levels. In the United States, it is under pressure over Article 230. In the European Union, it is under pressure over privacy and over abuse of its power. You see that all over the world. Now, every step forward with implementing regulation on Facebook is damaging the business model of Facebook. When this takes place, you could see something similar happen, for example, within the European Union or in member states of the European Union. France is already pushing forward with a similar proposal. Germany is looking into a similar proposal. And all this will end up with Facebook having less and less influence and less spread and activity. But also we see that a lot of users are moving away from Facebook. So Facebook will become less and less relevant when it continues to follow this path of abusing privacy, of influencing what it posts, of using content by others but not paying for that, etc., etc. So in the end, I believe that Facebook itself is definitely damaging its business model and is also not willing to adopt its business model with the new upcoming regulation. This abuse of power is demonstrated in the way that it treats the Australian government at the moment.
All right, thanks so much for your analysis, Dr. Johannes Drooghaag. Appreciate it.